What if I told you that Portugal played a hidden role in America's independence? That a small Atlantic nation, once the edge of the known world, helped shape the beginning of a new one? Welcome to Seven Hills Tales, where we uncover the forgotten threads of history, from Lisbon's ancient stones to the world's boldest revolutions. I'm Francisco, and tonight, by the warmth of this fire, we'll travel back to a time when maps were still being drawn, and destiny was written with ink, courage, and a glass of wine. In the mid-1700s, Portugal stood as one of the most experienced seafaring nations on Earth. Its navigators had mapped the winds and currents that bound continents together. From Lisbon to Goa, from Angola to Brazil, Portuguese ships carried knowledge, culture, and trade across the oceans. But one of their most valuable exports wasn't gold, silk, or spices. It was something humbler and far more enduring. A drink crafted on volcanic soil, kissed by sun and sea air. Madeira wine. For centuries, this fortified wine journeyed across the Atlantic, surviving the heat of the tropics, the rolling storms, the months adrift. And with every voyage, it grew richer, infused with salt, oak, and time itself. By the 18th century, Madeira had become a symbol of refinement in the American colonies. In the grand homes of Boston and under the warm southern nights of Charleston, there was one drink that spoke louder than words. Not French, not British, but defiantly Portuguese. Madeira wine, liquid gold from a volcanic island, aged by fire, ocean winds, and the patience of those who understood its power. George Washington raised it in celebration at Mount Vernon, his favorite reward after battles won or survived. Thomas Jefferson, the scholar of taste and freedom, filled his cellars with it, so much that even after his debt-ridden life ended, the bills for Madeira were still being paid. Benjamin Franklin, always the philosopher of the everyday, called it the drink of reason. Perhaps because Madeira loosened tongues without clouding minds, perfect for men planning to reshape the world. And so, on the morning of July 4th, 1776, within Independence Hall in Philadelphia, after quills had scratched their final signatures into immortality, the Founding Fathers did not reach for British ale, too bitter for the moment, nor French champagne. That celebration had not yet been earned. Instead, they lifted glasses of Portuguese Madeira, the wine that had crossed oceans, survived storms, and defied empire, just as they vowed to do now. A toast to liberty, a toast to a new nation, a toast with a wine from Portugal. Imagine that moment. The air heavy with ink and history, quills laid to rest, hands trembling, not from fear, but from the weight of what they had just done. A silence stretches across the room, not quiet, but roaring with possibility. No one cheers, not yet. They know the cost that will come. Then, the softest sound breaks the tension, glass against glass, a toast. Not to victory, for war still awaited them outside those doors, but to courage, to unity, to the terrifying beauty of the unknown future they had just chosen. And few noticed, in that sacred instant, the poetry in what they held. A wine from a distant, rugged island, thrown into fire to make it stronger, forced across wild seas to become what it was meant to be, resilient, defiant, unbroken, just like the revolution, just like the nation being born in that room. The clinking of glass became the heartbeat of a world taking its first breath. And the taste of Portuguese Madeira became the flavor of independence. The island of Madeira was a world unto itself, volcanic, remote, and unyielding. Its wine absorbed the essence of the Atlantic: heat, motion, endurance. It was, in many ways, a reflection of the human spirit that shaped both Portugal and America: to endure, to adapt, and to evolve. The colonies loved it so deeply that the British Crown once tried to ban its import. That act only fanned the flames of defiance. and Madeira became the wine of rebellion. After the war, gratitude crossed the ocean. In 1791, the newly founded United States established its first diplomatic mission in Lisbon, a gesture of respect to a nation that had long stood at the crossroads of the Atlantic. David Humphreys, a soldier, poet, and trusted friend of George Washington, became the first American minister resident to Portugal. He described Lisbon as the gateway of the ocean, and his letters often spoke of the warmth and curiosity of the Portuguese people. Just 4 years later, in 1795, the United States founded its oldest consulate still in operation, not in London, not in Paris, but in Horta, on the island of Faial, in the Azores. The consulate was moved from Horta to Ponta Delgada in April 1899, though Horta continued as a consular agency. These Atlantic islands, Madeira to the south, the Azores to the northwest, had long been Portugal's stepping stones to the New World, and now they became America's first bridge back across the ocean, a meeting point for merchants, sailors, and shared hopes. The story of Madeira wine is more than a tale of trade. It's the story of how two distant worlds shared one soul. Portugal, master of the sea, taught humanity to navigate. America, child of freedom, taught humanity to dream anew. And between them flowed the same Atlantic current, carrying ships, letters, barrels, and ideals. Every sip of Madeira in 1776 was a reminder of courage, distance, and endurance, a silent bridge between continents. History remembers battles and revolutions, but often forgets the quiet gestures that bind them together. A letter carried by wind, a barrel aging in silence, a glass raised under candlelight. Sometimes the most powerful revolutions begin not with a roar, but with a toast. Perhaps the Founding Fathers didn't know the full meaning of that moment. Perhaps, when they raised their glasses of Madeira, they were also honoring the spirit of a people who had once dared to sail into the unknown, and, in doing so, taught the world to follow. The taste of the sea, the courage of discovery, the warmth of a faraway sun, all preserved in a single glass of Portuguese wine. From the vineyards of Madeira to the harbors of Lisbon, Portugal's spirit quietly flowed into the birth of a new nation, a reminder that history's greatest stories are often written between waves, in friendship, in courage, and in the quiet clink of a glass. If you enjoyed uncovering this forgotten connection between Portugal and the United States, subscribe to Seven Hills Tales and help keep these hidden histories alive, because there are still secrets waiting in the past, and together we'll bring them back into the light.